because you've been at this game since 2008. How do you stay current so you don't have some story where you get behind?
Honestly, the easiest thing to do is get a CPA. Get a CPA that knows what they're doing. Okay, they're going to charge me $400 a month to do all this stuff for me because I don't want to screw that stuff up. As you continue to get bigger and your business expands, the depreciation starts to come in, and there's just so many tax advantages to having a CPA that knows what they're doing.
What's up, everybody? Today our special guest is Leroy Maines from the great state of
Iowa.
Iowa Hawkeyes,
Go
baby.
Hawks. Yes, absolutely. The under, I think, is 28 today, Paul.
The under and over. So
the over-under is 28.
Okay, that's like Ohio State's first quarter.
Right, exactly. Well, and from a Hawkeye fan, we're going under. We're taking the under today. So watch it. Iowa-Rutgers under 28. I said it right here first.
Good Big Ten football right there.
Absolutely.
Well, Leroy, you host a podcast, the Green Grind Podcast, with Corey Ballard. You guys have been doing that for a few years.
Yep.
Now you get to sit the guest seat.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's different to be on this side of it. I've been on a couple of them before, and never live like this. It's always been on Zoom and phone, and so live is kind of cool. I think it's neat that you're doing this thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're at the Lawntrepreneur Academy live, the 5th year of this show. I've attended every single year, and I always miss the speeches because I'm out in the lobby podcasting, but you were in there, and how did it go?
It went well. It went a whole lot faster than I anticipated it going, so which was good because I think I spoke a little bit faster than I wanted to, and the time was right on. So it turned out really well. I cut a couple of things out of the speech, but it went really well. And there's a great group of guys in there, and this event's gone on, really, really well so far. And there's been a ton of information shared so far. I mean, we're not even at lunch, Paul, and it's 11 o'clock, and I've already learned a couple of things here, so it's been fantastic so far.
And you own Brilliant Borders?
Correct. My wife and I own Brilliant Borders. We're a design build company out of Des Moines, Iowa. We do some lawn care, and we do a ton of snow removal as well too. We started our LLC in 2007. I've grown it into what it is today. Both been a pretty integral part of that business and growing it. My wife works in our business every day with me, and it's been phenomenal for us so far. So
okay.
Yeah.
And how'd you get teamed up with Corey Ballard?
Corey and I in the same city, and we just met through mutual friends, and I'd always known who Corey was when I started my business, and my wife and I started our business. Corey was just one of those guys that everybody kind of knew who he was. Perfect Cut was and still is realistically the leader in our market, and just met him through a couple of friends and found out one day that he likes to ride motorcycles, and so I said, hey, I like to ride motorcycles. Let's go ride motorcycles. And so we started riding motorcycles together, and it's just kind of been history after that. We turned into pretty good friends. This is kind of when podcasts first came out a few years ago, and they really started to get big, and a lot of guys were just doing podcasts. They would release one, maybe 3 months later you'd get another one, after 2 weeks, and then maybe 6 months later, just so sporadic. And I just looked at Corey and I said, hey, why don't we try to do this ourselves and make a podcast and put it out, so it's regular and do it the right way. So it kind of started out with a resentment that we started doing that podcast, and angry because the content just wasn't there, and we started doing it, and that's where it started at. And it's grown into something we never thought it would. We release one a week now. It's far more work than we ever anticipated it would be, and I'm sure you know that. You do one every single day. That's just crazy to think about. But it's been really, really good for us, and that's so yeah. Just through mutual friends, that's how I got hooked up with Corey, and he's helped me a ton in my business. I can honestly sit here and say that our business would not be where it's at without Corey, and not that he gives us the keys to success, but he just says little things here and there, and he's a mentor that I've looked at, and he'll tell me the truth in my business. Which a lot of times, I was just talking to somebody in there about it. When I go ask my wife about our business, she tells me what is good for us. We're both emotionally attached to our business. Mm-hmm. And when you can have a mentor or somebody that tells you the truth about your business and you can really look at that, that's kind of a neat thing. And so Corey's been able to do that with me, and it's really, really helped her.
Now, with the podcast, you guys are like at 133 episodes? Is that
just
right?
137. We just released
137.
Tuesday. Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
What's been the most memorable moment?
Probably just hearing the stories of people that everybody's got a story. We started this thing out, and my goal of it was just to share our knowledge and to help other people. And probably the biggest benefit that's come out of it for me, and the biggest thing is just hearing people's stories and how people get into this stuff, and the real struggles is what really I look at, and I'm just like, man, those struggles sometimes are just, for people to overcome those things and to just see things bigger than us working in their lives is amazing to watch sometimes, and to see those things things. We interviewed a guy that used to be a police officer, and he witnessed his partner get shot on a part-time deal. And so hearing stuff like that, I just am like, I think some days I get into work, Paul, and I'm mad because a project didn't go the way it was supposed to go, or something didn't go. And then I hear stories like that, and I just think, man, this is so much bigger than me and what we're trying to do. And our podcast just reiterates that story to me time and time again.
Okay. Now, in your business, how many employees do you guys have?
So we have anywhere between 17 to 22, 23, just depending on the season. We're a seasonal business. We have more in the summertime. We hire some part-time guys in the summertime. My son works for us in the summer. We have a couple college kids. Our numbers go up then. In the wintertime, we have a lot of snow subs that come in for us, and a lot of some other part-time people that we put on that drive concrete trucks or whatever and want to do stuff during the winter. So we anywhere between 17 to 22. We employ 9 people full-time year-round right now in our organization.
Okay. Where do you find good help?
To be quite honest, we steal a lot of help from our competition, and our guys are great ambassadors for our organization. Our guys are treated very, very well, and their friends see the lives that they live, and they see that, when they go to work, they're happy at work. They come home and they're not just beat to death. They're not complaining about their job. And our team is the biggest recruiter that we have. Our guys know guys. They go to church with guys. They play soccer with these guys. They hang out with them at the quinceañeras or whatever the case is, and they just bring their buddies. And for us, we've been established long enough now that when our team members bring other people in to work on our team, they know their work ethic before they come in. They're not bringing slouches into our business to work. They know the work that we produce, and they know the quality of work that we produce, and they recruit those guys to come for our business. And they've been our biggest recruiter for us.
Last night at dinner, I overheard you telling someone how you're kind of paying things off. Sounds like, I don't know if you follow the Dave Ramsey plan or you just common sense says to pay off your equipment and whatnot. What's kind of your philosophy on financially running your business?
I am a Dave Ramsey fan in my personal life. For business, we're in the design build thing. So shelling out $130,000 for loaders and cash flow can be difficult at times. And so we do finance some of that stuff. Honestly, it makes me feel a little uneasy. And I think about those types of things when we go into, we were talking about next year at dinner last night, and nobody really knows what next year is going to bring. And when I think of debt that people have, in seasons like that, when the business starts to slow down, that's when the debt really starts to creep up on you and really makes an impact on your business. And we have some debt in our business. We have to just because of the numbers that we operate with and the equipment costs. But my philosophy is we try to get that paid as quick as possible. And every piece of equipment we buy, we make sure it has a specific use. Why are we using that? We value the piece of equipment. What is it worth to our business? What revenue is it truly going to bring into our business? More importantly, how quickly can we get that piece of equipment paid off? And we have a schedule that, we want to pay this, and if we have extra cash, we will throw it at it. So we really try to run our business on a low debt ceiling if we absolutely possibly can.
What's been the biggest job you guys have ever done financially wise?
So the biggest project we did a project last year that was a little over $200,000.
Wow.
It was a nice project for us, yeah. And here's the funny thing about that, Paul. We made virtually zero money on it.
How so?
We underbid it. It was probably too big of a project for us at the time. It was being honest and confronting the facts of it. We mismanaged the project is what it boiled down to. We just didn't have the right things in place. We didn't have the right team members in place, and the job just took way too long for us.
What were you guys doing?
So we subbed out a pool installation. This is kind of when everybody was, putting the pools in. We subbed out a pool to another company, and we put in all the patio retaining walls, all the, the landscaping around it. I believe part of it probably was that the sub company didn't quite work well with our organization, and like I said, we did a poor job of managing that. And we learned, that was our first pool installation, Paul, and it was our last pool installation, just because we were talking on the stage in there a little bit earlier, and we have to do what's right for our business and what makes sense for our business. And I tried to step out of our comfort zone and realistically thought, well, this would be kind of cool. We can put it on our Facebook page, and it bit us and it hurt. So we learned.
Did the customer know any of this, or were they happy with the final result?
The customer was thrilled with the work. No, our customer didn't know anything about that. So we were just, toward the end, we had a lot of guys on there, and I shouldn't say we didn't make any money. We didn't make the margin that we wanted to make on the thing. And it just, as a business owner, I look at that probably a lot different than other people do. But our customer had no idea that was the case. The project went smooth. In the customer's eyes, everything went the way it was supposed to go, just on the back
end. With a job that takes that long, even though you might not have done too good on that job, you also missed out on being available for other jobs that would have been a good profit margin. So it's kind of like a double whammy.
So when you say that, when I just said I think of that differently as a business owner, that's exactly what I'm referring to. And I think so many guys miss that in their business. It's like, well, my time is free. I can go out and do that, and it doesn't cost me anything. Well, sure it does. First of all, it costs you your time. And second of all, it costs you the time that you should be making money during your time. And so you're exactly correct. So I didn't, if you really look at it, you're supposed to make $1,000 a day and you lost 500. Realistically, you lost 1,500 if we're talking about it that way. And I think that's a great point. And I think that gets missed so many times in business.
Other than that situation, what's the biggest mistake you've made since launching your business?
Probably hiring the wrong people and holding on to those wrong people for too long. It costs us a lot of money, and a lot of money that I don't even know how much money it probably costs us. But we have hired people 2 and 3 times thinking that something will change with those people, and it just doesn't change. They continue to do the same things. They seem to have the same bad habits. And as a business owner, I just continue to hire these people because I feel that our business is not going to continue if we don't have this person. And in fact, it's just the opposite. It's going to go down the tubes if we continue to hire these people this way. And as a business owner, I've kept people for way too long and just tried to milk it and think things were going to get better when I should have just confronted the facts. This is the facts. This is what it is, and moved on. And I think that costs us not only on the cash side of things, but I think that also probably costs us a lot on the time side of things, of realistically where our business is today and where it could possibly be.
Okay, Leroy, I want to pick your brain because I know more about the lawn maintenance. Are we good, Elijah, on the camera? I know more about pricing lawn maintenance and lighter jobs like mulch and sod installations and simple stuff like that. But when it comes to design build, how do you even go about your pricing structure when the customer picks a project? Like, how do you price that all out so that it is profitable?
So software is what helps us more than anything. We operated for a lot of years without software in our business. And once we picked up a piece of software in our business, it changed everything, because the software out there will tell you, this is what you should be charging for your labor. This is what you should be charging for your vehicles. This is what you should be charging for this. And so when we price those things, we just price them to say, okay, this is the material that we actually need. This is the truck that we're going to use. The biggest factor in there is the labor. The labor, because we can put a retaining wall in for you, Paul, and we can go do that exact same size retaining wall at my house, and it's 2 completely different projects because of where it's at, just a lot of different things on those. And so we've come up with different matrices, this retaining wall, this much square footage should take this, if it's medium, if it's this much, if it's difficult, and just have figured out those matrices over time. But there are times when we have lost so much money on projects because it just completely misbid. And we have also, as our company has evolved and elevated, we have put things in there that protect our company and the terms and conditions, meaning, it used to be if we would dig up your irrigation, that was just on us, and we weren't smart enough to just say, well, look, we have no idea what's under the ground. So now in our terms and conditions, and our salespeople say, hey, look, if we dig something up and we don't know about it, we're going to have to add more time to it. And so when we bid those things, we take those things into consideration. We do the best that we can with those, but we also put in the terms and conditions that, there are a lot of unknowns when we do these things. And our salespeople are very good at knowing what crew is doing what, so we have to assign certain crews to things just because of the way things are budgeted. But I would say that the hours are probably the most difficult thing to get figured out on landscape projects.
So for a run-of-the-mill $10,000 job, how do you do collecting the payment and throughout the project? Like, what's your philosophy or protocol?
Sure. So when our customer signs the agreement, we send out an invoice for 30% deposit. We will not put anybody on the schedule unless we have a 30% deposit from them. And that does one of 2 things. First of all, it helps our cash flow as our business. It continues to keep cash coming through our business so we can pay our people, we can pay our vendors, and just keep our business moving. The second thing that we do is we have an additional 30% when the material is delivered to the customer's job site the day we start the project. And so the day we start the project, we typically have 60% of the project already done, which typically is going to cover most of our labor on the project, and it's going to cover all of the materials on the project. So as a business owner, we're not out a whole lot of cash, just a little bit in the beginning. And then we have payment terms that are due the day the project is completed. Our sales manager will make a meeting with them. They'll go over either that day or the following day, walk through everything with them. As long as everything is okay, we'll pick up a check or hand them an invoice at that day, and they'll pay us hopefully that day is typically how we do things.
Okay, fantastic. And then tell us a little bit of your history, like with taxes and things of that nature. How do you make sure you have your money properly saved up so you stay current with the state of Iowa and the U.S. of A?
Yeah, that's a tough thing, and it's a great point too, Paul, because I think a lot of people miss that in their business. We hire people And a lot of guys start out to where we'll just pay you some cash under the table and move on. And, pretty soon gets to become very, very easy to do that. And it's funny because the IRS doesn't really like it that way. So, but what we do is we have what we call a tax account in our business. And so when we do our payroll, our taxes, so our guys are paid every other Friday. And our taxes are due on that the following, I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. And our CPA handles all of that for us. We do our own payroll through some software that we have because we're small enough that my wife runs our front office operations, still does all of our payroll, and then it just goes into a bucket. Our accountant sends it all off to the IRS, does a 940s and 941, sends all those off. But we will take, we have unemployment taxes that are due quarterly. We have state of Iowa sales taxes due monthly. So all of those things that we do, we separate, and it goes into a separate account, and then that money is there for those things. So we save that money.
Yes, we have so many listeners. Okay, we're back here at the Michigan sun. It's not a cloud in the sky, which is very rare.
Right.
Every other time I've been here, it's been cloudy and cold. I guess it still is cold, but it's a beautiful day.
It is nice.
Michigan. Thanks to Brian and Liz for having us up here in Novi for this event. But I want to go back to taxes because you've been at this game since 2008, and so many listeners, viewers, are in year 1 and 2. And, how do you stay current so you don't have some story where you get behind?
So honestly, the easiest thing to do is get a CPA. Get a CPA that knows what they're doing, because they will, and I looked at this different in our business early on, Paul. I looked at it as, okay, they're going to charge me $400 a month to do all this stuff for me. And the key is they actually save you a whole lot of money by doing it correctly for you. So get a CPA to do those types of things. We do our own payroll. They pay all the taxes for us because I don't want to screw that stuff up. It's weird. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm afraid of the government. I don't want them poking around in our business. We've had some audits before, and they turned out perfectly fine, but man, they're all up in your stuff, and they want to know everything about everything, and it's just it's such a time consumer that if you have an accountant that's just doing your taxes and paying those things the way they're supposed to for you, you don't ever have to worry about that. And it's just one of those things that as you continue to get bigger and your business expands, the depreciation starts to come in, and there's just so many tax advantages to having a CPA that knows what they're doing. They will save you more money than they're costing you.
Like Michael Gerber says, of work on your business, not in your business, in the E-Myth book back in the day. What's your day-to-day look like? Are you out there building retaining walls, or you
no.
what's your day-to-day?
Paul, I'll be 50 next year. I'm way too old to be, and I'm having a knee replacement. You can see my knee brace under here. I'm having a knee replacement at the beginning of January. My days of putting walls in are numbered. No, I'm very fortunate in our business that I get to work on our business rather than in our business. And what I mean by that is we have hired managers, we have hired leaders to do the day-to-day operations for us. Don't get me wrong, I'm in our business every single morning. I'm the first one in our office. I'm typically there by 6 o'clock in the morning every single mornings, just because I get the most done in my day between probably 5:45 and 6:30 in the morning before anybody else comes into our office.
Really?
It's probably the most productive 45 minutes of my entire day.
Really?
And everybody starts to come in, and I'm a type of person that I'll go in the back and say hi to all of our guys when they come in the morning. Hey guys, fist bump, how's it going? What are we doing today? What are we working on? They'll head out the door, and then I'll start working on our business a little bit. What do I need to do? Next year, we're planning to increase our fertilization and weed control by 300 accounts. So my job right now is how are we going to get that? What is our budget for these accounts? Where are we going to have those things? And, we're in November, and I'm already trying to figure out the next spring of how we're doing things. So my primary job is to grow our business, to have that vision out there, to make sure our team members understand what that vision is, and then just figure out how are we going to increase and get this thing bigger. That's my job on a daily basis now.
And what's next, Leroy, for the Green Grind podcast you and Corey got going on over there?
We're just continuing to try to elevate that as well, too. We're trying to get bigger guests on the Green Grind and bringing in people with some bigger businesses so the smaller guys know how, when they get bigger, what to do, and more importantly, Paul, what not to do. We both have a lot of experience on things that have not worked in our business. And so we're just trying to bring on guys that are bigger and telling guys how to elevate their business and just what to do. And it seems like everybody now, they're all going to, how do I get better people? Where do these better people come from, and where can we keep them? And so we're trying to focus on that and just continuing to help the guy that's a little bit smaller. Advice was so freely given to me when we started this thing, and it's just been so helpful. And all these podcasts out there that everybody does, I just think that giving back to these guys is very, very helpful, and it makes me, it kind of fills my cup a little bit too, and believe it or not, giving back to these guys has helped our business so much. We're just going to continue to do it.
Cool. Well, I can smell lunch is ready. I think for the speakers, we get to eat a little bit before the rush of the 400 other folks that the line gets long. So I want to grab lunch because I've been podcasting all morning. And I didn't get to eat breakfast at the thing down there.
Oh, so. No breakfast this morning.
Well, Corey had a piece of toast and a banana, and I was talking to him, and then I ended up ordering McDonald's, but it wasn't real food. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I understand. I like to eat too. And then breakfast is one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, this lunch is always good every year, so I want to go grab it before
Awesome.
they release out of here. But
Perfect.
Let people know how they can connect with you.
Sure.
Or your podcast or whatever.
Yeah, the podcast, just look us up on The Green Grind. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. My company is Brilliant Borders, brilliantborders.com. Very easy to find. Borders is Borders. And, of course, I can be just emailed Leroy@brilliantborders.com anytime.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Leroy.
Absolutely, Paul. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's weird to hear your voice in person.
I'm
used to seeing you on The Green Grind.
Yeah, that's the way it typically works. So awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it. You bet.